with everyone again. Welcome back everyone to the CSEC Paper Guys channel. It is nice to be back with you. Um, a lot have taken over the channel temporarily, but due to certain dire incidents, some things have occurred, and I can't really depend on that person now to make videos for the rest of a couple of months. So anyways, we're back with the usual. For the meantime, I will probably go on for 2 more weeks, I think, and that Boris will be able to take over. Anyways, guys, let's start back with the usual. So it's nice to be back with everyone. Yes, it's nice to be back with everyone. So without further ado, let's actually start our usual classes as per usual. We'll be starting off with social studies. I know a lot of you guys will not be able to watch this video. Probably later on to next year. I am starting relatively early. So anyways, for the video, we will be starting back on revisions, purely on revision as I said before. CSEC has ended for me in June, but personally, I haven't completed all the content as relates back to social studies. I will be giving SBA guidelines and such like in this new I would say change, since we have shifted mainly from past papers and we're going on to the actual syllabus under each of these categories. I did say that I was going to take a break, but as I said before, due to certain circumstances, I will have to continue on the channel. It was supposed to have someone else who's supposed to take over the channel, and but because of certain highlighted in the um, channel description. So, anyways, nice to be back with you. So yes, with that in mind, we will start off with the social studies syllabus. This book is written by the Caribbean Educational Publishers. So this content is exclusive to everyone in the Caribbean. Just a note, so you guys, regardless of where you are in the Caribbean, this content could actually work for you. I will post the link as usual in the chat so you guys could actually be in tune and ask your questions right now. So I'm going to create a post so you guys could actually join. So I am inviting everyone right now so you guys could join. We will be starting about the per usual live streams. So, anyways, I just like to get that out here. I personally do know that a lot of you guys are tired from CSEC. I do know that. I do know that. I feel tired myself. But
So I am
something that
inviting everyone right now so you guys could join.
so with that in mind, with everyone, stream will be very long. So I just like to get that out there. So let's start. So first of all, we start off with the individual. We start off with the individual, family, and society. Just to note, this is the fourth section of the paper ones, the paper twos. I mean, sorry for that. This is the fourth section of the paper two. We will be completing the entire thing within this one video, so it will be strenuous on my part. Hopefully, you enjoy videos like this and you could subscribe. So yes, we'll be covering off all of these. We'll be answering even the multiple choice if possible. Then after that, in the next video, we'll be look at individual and society, and we'll cover off it within like probably 6, 7, or 8 videos. We will be doing all live streams, so you guys could stay in tune almost every day. Um, so let's look at of it. First of all, the individual. So the life of individual begins with the union of a sperm and an ovum. This is through the process of copulation, or sex as we know it, contributed by the male and female respectively. The single celled organism or zygote, which is for human beings, there's 3 chromosomes. I think I might be wrong. One half of which has been contributed by the male and the other half by the female. So yes, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. In each chromosome, there are numerous tiny particles called genes, which are the bearers of heredity. So when we consider to be who am I, that there's basically 3 questions that come: why am I here, and stuff like that. In other words, genes are responsible for transmitting characteristics from parents and other ancestors to an individual. It is because of this peculiarity of genes that an individual obtains from ancestors characteristics of skin, blood type, texture of hair, and the potential to be tall, short, hairy, heavy, or light. So depending on the situation, that in the case of, like, for example, your family, if your family, probably if you come from a very short family, everyone is short, there's a 99% probability that you will be short also. So after birth, the child begins progressive interaction with members of family, relatives, neighbors, other groups, and institutions. In CSEC is reproduction, which is necessary. And remember, reproduction is necessary for the survival of the human race. And without reproduction, the Homo sapiens, something is an interesting word you could probably learn today is Homo sapiens. The Homo sapiens would not have existed today. So I'm an individual made up of several characteristics. I am my physical self. This means that you are made up of blood, flesh, bones, various organs, including the heart, brain, lungs, kidneys. You get the idea. So you need to think of yourself as a person that is vital to society. That's why you have schools in order to develop your inherent skills. Inherent skills. So I'm gifted with a brain which gives me the capacity to learn a variety of things, and that's why you have secular education in order to push your brain to its limits. My brain helps me to think and respond to stimuli from my 5 senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. The there's different senses that relates back to what you can do, such as octoral, and we are going to those complex terms as we go on in the class. We do have a lot of content to work, so you guys could probably come back in next hour and we will still be here. So it's very long, it's very strenuous. I do understand that, but it is necessary. So I am emotional self. You have your emotional side. I do express feelings of love, happiness, sadness, anxiety, fear, and anger. I will strive to bring joy and happiness in the lives all and these are all positive attributions. There's also negative attributions that relates back to the delinquents. So there's basically a bilateral or even unilateral incentive when it comes back to who am I. The who am I question is a basic fundamental question that everyone asks themselves eventually. Who am I socially? Who am I ethically? Who am I emotionally? Who am I physically? Who am I intellectually? So from these basic questions, we could have a basic just of who we are in society, what our place is, and what our moral compass will be. And a moral compass would be the best word to sum up all of these basic questions. A moral compass is a compass by which you live life. Is this right? Is this wrong? And why is this right? And why is this wrong? These are basic human questions that we ask ourselves in order to prolificate and actually look into society from a cynical point of view. So from that, we could actually have the basic gist of what human characteristics actually is. So how we express emotions of happiness, what should one do to ensure physical fitness, all these questions you guys could tell me in the comments below. This is the fourth chapter I suggest for the actual individual. So let's look at the individual and personality. And personality could be both positive and negative, right? The physical characteristics of an individual are inherited genetically through the process known as heredity. On the other hand, the personality of a person, particularly the emotional, social, ethical aspect, are required through interaction with human beings and the physical environment. So if you look at the individual in, for example, A, friendly, honest, um, these are all positive attributions. So there is the motion in society of the good cop versus the bad cop. Just put that up. So if you are watching right now, we are completing the entire social study syllabus. We are a link to the class in the chat out probably. This is the example I like to watch these weird videos, but anyway.
Oh my god. Who you calling a pig, bitch? Oh god, please no. Hey, Ronnie, let's take it down a notch. Hey, you shut the up! You shut your mouth! Okay. Alright. Where are the drugs? Are you deaf? Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? How about this? You hear that?
Anyways, you guys get the gist of it. So from the good cop, we gotta understand that he is very kind, he's very honest, peaceful, cooperative, kind, industrious, respectful. He was untidy, he was rude, he was lazy, he was selfish, not really lazy, but he was selfish, he was uncooperative, and he was very bold with his actions. From looking at that, we could basically take a note and say that the good cop versus the bad cop. That is what we see in society, where there's a debate means what environment means and stuff like that. The questions are right here. Anyways, let's look at the growth and development of an individual. So they are mainly 5 stages of your life. I could probably guess that within 100 years from now, a lot of you guys who are watching me right now will probably not exist because the average lifespan of an average human is between 70 years old. In the Caribbean, I think it's probably lower, but the average lifespan of an individual is between 70. So if you childhood, adolescence, and adulthood and senescence. So an individual during their lifetime passes through a number of stages, each of which has its special characteristics. These stages are the period, this is the prenatal period, the period of prior birth, meaning that it's before you're even in the world. We have childhood, the period from birth to about the ages of 10 to 13 when the individual reaches puberty. This is where you're targeting adolescence, the period between puberty and adulthood. This is what they call you should go and get a walk. Usually from 12 or 13 to 19 years old. Then we have adulthood. From the time when an individual attains social and psychological maturity, usually from 20 years old to old age. Although all stages of development through which an individual passes are important, we will focus. Basically, they're trying to say we'll focus on children. I believe that majority of my viewers are between 17 to 18 or 17 and above. 17. I don't think a lot of my viewers are between 50. If anyone of you are 50 watching my videos, a lot of you guys who are watching me right now, you're going through that adolescent age. And the adolescent age is one of the most complex. It's one of the most difficult and hardest stage of life that could possibly even encountered. We have the emotion of identity crisis. We have the emotion of finding your place in society. These questions are the basic questions that an average adolescent will have to ask or will ask themselves eventually as it relates back to who am I, what am I doing, and what am I is the action that I'm doing right now even beneficial to me? These are the basic questions that adolescents ask. All human beings, including children, possess the both physical needs, the need for food, air, liquid, activity, rest, recreation are required to feed, clothe, learn the following skills: walking, talking, etc. Let me just don't list it. I believe it's very much self-explanatory. So where are we now? Parents. So to actually protect their of affection, according to data, children could even die from a actual lack of love and affection in general sense. Everyone needs love. The child demonstrates that forcefully, when he would cry endlessly and left for a long period of time. Every child wants to know that he's recognized and can um, hold the esteem and approval of parents, peers, and teachers. And then we have independence or reliance on parents could be a negative thing actually in the long term. So, anyways, I'm gonna open the chat after I read the term with independence. If anyone is in the chat, I don't know. Anyways, independence, right? So eventually, over a period of time, the child will start to learn to walk eventually. They will want to develop, they want to wear their own shoes. They say, Mommy, I don't want you to put on my shoes. I'm a big boy now. And then eventually, they go from that stage and they say, Mommy, I don't, because I believe I'm going into a very important part. Of my viewers are around this age. I do know it. You don't have to tell me. I see the information in the channel car analytics. Ends at the beginning of adulthood. Roughly, the period is parallel to the ages of teens. For females, the beginning of adolescence is characterized by the appearance of menstruation. For male, the testes begin to produce semen. So, to begin, the testes begin to produce testosterone, the male sex hormone. Sperms are produced by the testes. Here appears on the face, chest, public estrogen, and progesterone. Eggs are produced by the ovaries. Here appears under the arms and in the public region. The breasts develop, the hips widen, and we have the gist of it. And because of these physical changes takes place, they are usually physical appearance change effect starts to come into play. Development and becoming independent, eventually school progress, preparation for a career. Section. So after this here, we will record enough. So an individual usually begins life with the family. The family is basically the most important part of your life. However, not all families demonstrate love and kindness. Therefore, the family as an institution has been subjected to much criticism on the same roof, supporting and maintaining each other socially, economically, and emotionally. Within a family, there may be found a conjugal pair consisting of a husband and wife, and the conjoined family or blood relatives, such as a mother and her children or a father and his children. Apart from the characteristics mentioned before, members of a family share the following common surname, resemblance in most cases, same religious belief. So, how does a family begin? And after this, we'll probably close off a bit early. I think we still have a bit more content to actually. We did look at kind of back. So how a family begins basically. The adolescence period is one which is characterized by a very powerful and strong sex drive. It is during this period that adolescents generally begin courting, which may end in the formation of a family. Go on marriage of convenience. So I'll just sum it up to just make it very short. Courtship is the period of getting to know your partner and seeing if they're actually a right fit for you. Shotgun marriage is where they only marry because a child is involved. A marriage of convenience is when you're basically marrying someone because of a basic need. So, family tradition, in some family traditions, there is usually two married. You might be traditionally married to another family. Elopement, two people may elope and either form a common law marriage or a legal union. So, yes, that's a little bit. Anyways, let's start back. We will mainly focusing on family traditions as relates back to CSEC. All right, so let's start back. So functions of the family, and after I think this is the last section of it. So functions of family and role of parents in the family. So the functions of the family mainly include as a unit of procreation. Apart from the need for food, clothing, and shelter, human beings possess a very basic and fundamental need, which um, physiologists refer to as sex need. It is within a family that individuals find expression and satisfaction of the sex needs without social disapproval. And we have as an agent of education, bringing children to the world is only function of the family. Um, as an agent of education, parents lay the foundation, provide opportunities for the education of the child. With very few expectation, the first word that the child learns comes from within the family. Even though the school has taken over responsibility for formal education, parents still contribute to the informal education of children. They may supervise the children's unit. One of the most fundamental or one of the most important functions of the family is the unit of as an economical function. Parents are usually the sole and recreation. Anyways, guys, I think Just give me a second here. Anyways, I did not really give a big shout out. There was a person that subscribed. That would be T Texting Stories. A big shout out to that person. I think they got like 79 subscribers, and I really just like to give that a big shout out to that person. So it's nice to be back with everyone. See my face. What's up, people, again? Anyways, if you liked videos like this, again, you could subscribe to the Study Prep Guys channel. We will be continuing live streams like this almost every day. It is very open. This is for anyone who is interested in studying for a CSEC, as relates back to the subject areas listed in the chat. So we will be going through everything like that as per usual. So, anyways, let's start. What do we mean by social net? The family provides, for example, socially, we mean, for example, emotional, even psychological support. As a unit for cultural transmission, this could be your cultural heritage. The family serves as a transmission for that. As a unit of socialization, this means teaching the children what is socially acceptable, what society expects from you, and such alike. So let's look at the role of parents in the family. So basic needs might be, or basic things they might do, is helping children develop healthy lifestyles, spending quality time playing games, going on picnics, providing children the basic needs, food, clothing, shelter, developing discipline, meaning that you beat them sometimes, you hit them with a rod just to make sure that they're okay, and they don't get bad. Cultivating a sense of responsibility, helping children to be responsible and giving them household tasks, teaching proper values such as truth, honesty, respect, etc. And from this, children usually develop their social compass, creating a healthy balance between work and play by monitoring the time spent on home and schoolwork, developing in children a passion for learning by providing educational toys, books, newspaper, magazines, etc. So yeah, so let's discuss the role of parents, but now let's take a look at the role of children in the family. So first of all, you need to respect your parents. This is one of the major aspects of a child. They need to respect, assist with household chores, pursue studies diligently, practice thrift. This means uh, take lunch to school, use the cheapest means necessary to transport. This could be like, for example, thrift could be also a way of assisting your parents by spending probably less money or spending less money than required. You actually assist your parents in that sense. Take issues that comes into play as we relate back down to family is the conflict within the family. And conflict within the family is a very sad thing. Just to note, it's a very sad thing. It's not a positive thing when we hear of family problems within the family. It's not a positive thing. It's a very negative thing if you were to look into it. So, anyways, heard a lot of persons tell me about this, and even I personally have had experience with the generational gap. When we do speak of the generational gap, we think of the differences between two generations. For example, somebody from Gen Z or Gen X, they share very varying views. For example, the millennials, which is people born between the I think it's the early 2000s, early 1990s, might see things very differently from somebody that was born now or 2020. Somebody that was born 2012 might think very differently than somebody who was born in the 1980s. For example, music, clothes, prayers, friends, television, courtship. All of these things may be seen entirely different when we compare two generations side by side. Conflict between spouses. Um, One of the major things that comes into play, and I do say this a lot in a lot of my live streams, marginalization. If I could sum up everything in a nutshell of why conflicts do occur in the family, I would refer to I would really refer back to the conflicts as relates back to conflicts within the household. I would think of marginalization right off the bat. That's the first thing that I would think of personally. Anyways, let me just make sure these things are right. Yes. Anyways, when it comes back down to conflicts in general, like for example, conflict between spouses, it's mainly because of marginalization. You know, women start making or have the same job as men, or men are no longer the sole breadwinners, and that actually turns into conflicts. So that is one of the major causes of conflict or marriage and divorce. We have the financial problems. You know, you're not making enough to actually maintain the house as a man, and then your wife says what you're doing, you're not doing your responsibility. Neglect. Sometimes you're not spending enough time with your spouses. They feel neglected, and loneliness because you're not there with them. You're busy with your job. Interference, infidelity, abuse. All of these are major causes um, of divorce in recent years. I can't really say for the validity of this, but if you look at the divorce rates, it's relatively high. I won't I won't say it's extremely high, but it is still high if you look at the data still. It's not extremely high, but it's still relatively high. So let's look at reasons for the failure of marriages. Any attempt to stem the tide of escalating divorce rates must consider the causes for the divorce to begin with. For example, unrealistic expectations, especially in today's society where we have social media. We might want to have a perfect spouse. We might want to have a spouse that is basically perfect. We might want to be independent. We don't want to depend on your spouse, and your spouse might feel like they don't really need to even be in a relationship. Youthful marriage statistics shows that the probability of divorce is greater when couple gets married while young as compared to getting married when older. Young people generally lack the tolerance, commitment, and maturity to deal with problems when they arise. So let's look at grounds for divorce: infidelity, abuse, separation, um, irreconcilable differences or incompatibility. Somebody might be a Muslim and somebody else might be a Christian, and that might be a reason in itself why divorce is prominent. Consists or mutual consent by both parties to obtain a divorce. Both of them might probably have all of these reasons and might just say, okay, let's actually just divorce. So let's take a box step and look at divorce. So, anyways, people, for those of you out there who are basically in tune right now, if you are in the chat and you're watching this and you have subscribed, I will see the subscription. I will give you a shout out. So a divorce can only be granted by a court in law. In granting divorce, the following issues cannot be mutually agreed upon the parties. The court has a jurisdiction to determine the amount of alimony. This is basically the amount of money that needs to be paid. And I would say this, I won't want to be biased, but usually in the case of divorce, it is don't usually go positive for the male in most cases due to societal expectations and predeterminants. Um, Divorce proceedings are costly and time consuming. Proper preparation will ensure that marriages do not end up in the courts. Just as individuals spend years prepare for a career, so they must treat marriage, since it is expected to be a lifelong union. Here are some useful hints to make help a successful marriage. So find out about your prospective spouse likes and dislikes. Ask yourselves, will I be able to tolerate these qualities for the rest of my life? That's very important to note. Attend pre-marriage counseling sessions, which paint realistic pictures of family life and deal with issues such as finance, communication, sex offerings, and their demands. So These are very much important terms even in the CSEC examination: marriage, divorce, legal separation, separation, annulment, and separation. So mutually agrees to live apart, as I said. Separation is not divorce. Legal separation is whereby a legal separation could literally be divorce, or legal separation could be in the case of the court determining that these two persons should live separately. And divorce is the where the both the husband and wife come together and say, here, what's gonna happen. We don't want to live with each other, and we both agree that we don't want to ever see each other and be with each other forever. And that would be divorce. Marriage is the legal binding of two persons, of a man and female, usually recognized by the state. We'll close off right here, people. I'm very tired. Um, yes, we'll be back again in next hour or something. Yes, guys, I'm very tired. Anyways, big shout out to the new subscribers, especially Ace, um, T Texting Stories. A big shout out to her. Salvo and Hazel. Just a big shout out to anyone. If anyone's willing to collaborate with the channel, tell me in the comments below if you're interested. I am willing to collaborate with any other CSEC related YouTuber or any other educative YouTuber. If you're interested, you could actually type in the comments below if you're interested in collaboration. I am interested. If you're interested,